Okay, let's do question 1, part 1. In this question, you're asked to state the coordinates of the turning point. You're given this equation in the completed square form. They can either give it to you in the form y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. Then they ask you to complete the square to become like this. Okay, then you get the answer. Or they can already give you this completed square form. Okay, now if you're asked to state the coordinates, right, of the turning point, the answer is a coordinate. Coordinate means something, the x value, then comma, then y, and then you need to put brackets. Okay, so this is what we call coordinates. Later I will explain more on other examples. Okay, so to answer this question, right, very simple. You set this whole thing to 0. You make this whole complete square be 0 here. Perfect square, let it be 0. So y equals minus 9, right? So your y coordinates is minus 9. Now you ask yourself, when will this become 0? So you see what's inside here is x minus 1, right? You let this whole thing be equal 0, so x equals to 1. Okay, now let me give you another example. Some of you may not be aware that if let's say I change the question to this. Okay, what would the turning point be? The turning point would be, I set this whole thing to 0, right? I set the perfect square to 0, so it is, the y is minus 9. Okay, same thing. But if I want to find what the x value is, the corresponding x value, right, I need to let whatever is inside here be equals to 0. Okay, then I find the x value. In other words, the answer is 3 over 2. Okay, not 3. Now here it's not 3. It's 3 over 2, because when x is 3 over 2, you sub inside here. Then this will be 0. Then this whole thing will be 3. Here, 3 minus 3 is 0. 0 squared is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Okay, so remember to set this whole thing to 0. Okay, so this is for the first part. Now, one thing I need to make sure that you know is that for this particular question here, right, your x squared is positive. So this is actually a happy face. So it's actually a minimum point. Okay, so in case they ask you maximum or minimum point, you need to know whether maximum or minimum point. Okay, now if I were to change this question a little bit, okay, change the question a little bit to this. There are different ways to ask this type of question. So if I want you instead to find the x coordinate of the turning point, then what would be the answer? It is not this, okay? It is not this, but it is just the x coordinate. So the answer is just 1. Alright, now if I want you to find the y coordinate, the answer is not this. The answer is just the y value, so that will be minus 9. So I hope you understand the difference between coordinates, x coordinate, which is just 1, y coordinate, which is just minus 9. Okay, now what's another way they can ask you? They can give you this question here. The same old question. Then they ask you what is the minimum or maximum value. Okay, in this case, because it is 4x squared, right? No, so coefficient of x squared is positive, so it's a happy face. So it's minimum point. Okay, minimum point. So you must say here the minimum y. Okay, you need to state whether maximum or minimum. So it's a minimum y, right, equals to minus 9. And the corresponding value of x means when will it happen? Okay, when will this minimum y happen? Now, this minimum y happens when your x is equals to x equals to 1, right? So when x equals to 1. Okay, so these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 ways they can ask you for this particular completed square form. Okay, now let's move on. We have the next part. Find both the x and y intercepts. Now Many of you don't know how to do this, okay? Now, you need to understand that you have an X and a Y axis, right? Huh? Then this is a happy face, how is it going to look like? Okay, actually this particular question, you should know that let's say the graph looks like that. These are the x-intercept and this is the y-intercept, okay? And at this particular point here, you know that it lies on the y-axis, so it must have a y value, correct? Okay, meaning your x value is 0. Okay, so you should let x equal 0. You sub this into this particular equation. Then you can press calculator, you will get -5. That means your y-intercept is -5. Okay, the answer is not 0 minus 5. No, it's not 0 minus 5 because that would be the coordinates of the y-intercept. Alright, if they just ask you for y-intercept, then it is this one. But if they ask you for what is the coordinates of the y-intercept, then the answer is just 0 minus 5. Okay, so you must understand what's the difference between y-intercept, which is just a number, and coordinates. Okay, how about the 2x-intercept? How do I find the 2x-intercept? So you ask yourself, if I write in coordinates form, right, at this point here, because I lie on the x-axis, right, I must have some x value. That means my y value is 0. This whole line is actually y equals 0, right? Okay, so again, I lie on the x-axis, I must have some x value. The y value is 0. So to solve this part of the question, right, you let y equal 0, which is here lah. Okay, just now the first part, the answer is here. You must state it in this form. Do not write y equal -5 in the answer blank. You'll be marked wrong. Okay, so in your answer blank, the y-intercept, the answer is just -5. It's just a number for y-intercept. Okay, then you set y equals 0. Okay, so very simple to find the x-intercept and y-intercept, right? You set x equals 0, y equals 0, and then you can find the answer already. Now, quite a few of you don't know how to manipulate lists, which means that your E-maths, you will have problem also. Now, you sub y equals 0 here, right? Then actually, there's no need to expand this. Quite a few of you go and expand. Later, I show you what you all did. What you need to do, right, is you want to find x, right? So, you get rid of this. How to get rid of -9? You don't want -9 here, right? You plus 9 here. On the left, on the right side of the equation, you plus 9. So on the left, you must plus 9 also. That's why there's a 9 here. Then now the 9 no more already, right? On the right hand side. Okay? Then now you slowly get rid of all this, until you reach the x, your final destination. Okay? So you divide by 4 both sides. 9 divided by 4, you get this. This one divided by 4, no more 4 already. Okay, then now you don't want the square root, right? You square root both sides. Now, when you square root both sides, don't write the square root, then the square here. Don't. Immediately remove this, okay? It's very strange to write this, then you don't put plus, minus. Can you just don't write this? Later I'll explain when I show you your working, Okay? Then now you want x, right? So you plus 1 here, then there's your answer. But we haven't evaluated yet. You 1 plus this, you will get this. 1 minus square root of this, you will get this. Okay? Now, if you are not good in mental calculation, just press calculator. Alright? Many of you, in your homework, in your work, right, you didn't use mental calculation correctly, and then you lose the marks. And then you cannot leave your answer like that. This is not the x-intercept, y-intercept. The x-intercept, y-intercept is like that. Okay? When you write it like that, right, actually this is an equation. Okay? So you need to state this clearly. If it is in an exam form, they put the answer with a blank space, right? You just write this down. Don't write x equal 2.5 in your answer blank space. Just write the number because this is an equation. If you write this, we'll mark you wrong already. Okay, now I'm now going to extend this question. Just now I extended for the first part, right? Okay, now I'm going to extend some more. Given this equation, alright, can you explain whether the curve will intersect the line y equals to minus 10? Okay, so this is your given equation. I show you one way first. From here, right, if I analyze the right hand side of the equation, wait, let me focus a bit. If I analyze the right side of the equation, I start from the complete square. Complete square is always greater or equal to 0, right? Okay, then I times the 4, both sides times 4. I'll get this part here. Then I minus 9, both sides, I'll get this. No need to flip the sign. This effectively is my y, correct? So this curve y is always greater or equals to minus 9. So since this curve is always greater or equals to minus 9, that's the first point. The y value will never be minus 10. Correct? So the curve does not intersect the line. Because the y value can never be minus 10, so there is no common y value, so the curve does not intersect the line. Okay, so that's how you answer this particular question. Now another way to answer this is this. Method 2. This one is easier. This method is easier. Since the minimum point of this curve is 1 minus 9, right? Why 1? Because when you put 1 inside, this part 0. Then when you get rid of this thing, the y is minus 9. So this is your minimum point. So since minimum point is this, and the coefficient of x squared is positive, right? You can say positive or you can say greater than 0. That means the shape of the curve is like that. You can draw this here. You can draw this in your explanation. Then it's clearer to the marker. But you must state this. If the coefficient of x squared is less than 0, then you draw a set face. So the curve is always above the line. This curve is always above the line. What's my question? It's always above the line y equals to minus 10, right? So curve will not intersect the line. Do you see the logic? Actually, the picture tells 1,000 words. Your y value is minus 9, right? Minus 10, this graph is like that. It's below minus 9, right? Imagine this is your y-axis. Imagine this is your y-axis. So minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, all the way until minus 9, then minus 10, right? So this line minus 10 is below this minimum point. Okay? So it will never, curve will never cut the line. So in your examination, you must state the maximum or minimum point first. Then you must say, the shape is like that or like that. Why? Because of the coefficient of x squared. Then, very importantly, this one must be there. You must say whether the curve is always above or always below the line. That's why they never cut. Okay? Yeah, so this is question number 1. I'm now next stage. I'm going to show you what the common mistakes some of you made. Okay, so you look at this particular one. First part no problem. Then go and expand. Okay, not say wrong. You expand here, and then after that suddenly you go and do in pencil. Now when you do in pencil, we will not mark your working in pencil. We will treat it as a draft. Okay, so do not use pencil during your examination, okay, or your test. Alright, then the next thing that is very bad, right, is, I mean, not well done, is that you didn't, number one, you didn't find the y-intercept, and then also you, after finding the so-called x-intercept, you never state the two x-intercept, the values. So that's why this whole question is zero. Don't know what you're doing. Okay? Now next one, I just show some common mistakes. Otherwise you keep on making the mistakes, you will not do well in your examination. This one, right, do not skip steps. You know why? Once you skip steps, you tend to make mistakes like this, you see. This one, right, actually by right you should have x squared minus 2x, okay, plus 1. Alright, plus 1, you see. But then you wrote here minus 4. It should be 4 times plus 1 is plus 4. So you make this mistake, right, because you skip a step. So please do not skip steps. The other thing is, for this question, right, they ask you to find the x-intercept, which is just a number. So it should just be x-intercept. What are the two values? And then the y-intercept, what are the two values? This one totally wrong concept already. You are 2.5 comma minus 5 then bracket, right? This is coordinates. The question didn't ask you for coordinates. They ask you only for this number, and this number. Okay, so that's why I keep on repeating, because the mistake that you make is, is repeated, okay. Okay, this first part here, when x equals 0, then you get y equals to this one. Yes, this one is going to give you your y-intercept. Okay, you must state clearly what's the y-intercept. This second part here, right, you are totally wrong concept already. You have the wrong concept. You sub when y equals to minus 5, you are finding a different thing already. You're finding where this curve, where the curve meet the line y equals to minus 5. Let's say this is a curve. You are drawing another line y equals minus 5, right? Then you're trying to find the x value of these two points where they intersect, where this curve intersect this line, for example. Okay, so this is wrong. So what should you do here instead? You should sub x equals to 0. Okay, sorry, sub y equals 0. Then you solve for x. Okay, so this is a very serious mistake. Okay, now the next thing, right, very important. This one, class, you cannot just press calculator and then get the answer. You cannot do that. You need to show either the quadratic formula working, okay, or the factorization working. In this case, you can just show the factorization working. Then same thing, state what's the x and y intercept. Now, this student here, after expanding, okay, you can do expansion, no problem. You can do expansion, but see, after expanding, you don't know what to do. You should express it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, then I either use the quadratic formula or what to solve for this. So it's minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac, right? All over the 2a, right? You show this working, then after that you can press calculator, get the two answers. Can? Alright. Okay, next, you see again, algebra, some of us are very weak. When you expand this, you get this, that's correct. But then when you use the so-called rainbow method, right? You see 4 times minus 2 is not minus 2. So you have to be very careful. 4 times this, also wrong. Okay, so your algebra, please be very careful. Okay, This one already mentioned, but you see many of you are still making the same old mistake. You see, making the same old mistake. Alright. Okay. Then the other thing is carelessness lah. You see actually I don't know what's going on here. You sub in 0, right? But then the minus 9 you never write, and then the square also never write. So totally wrong here lor. Okay. Thank you. I'll continue with the next question later.